Howdy, I'm Steve Thompson. A couple months ago, I read a couple stories from my collection of flash fiction stories, A Man of Few Words, which you can find right here. But I also have another collection, the All You Can Read Buffet. It's does contain some flash fiction stories, but also longer stories. But I'm just going to read a couple of the flash fiction stories, so this isn't, very, very long. But so the first story is Lost Marbles. Jolted from a deep sleep, Kathy sat up in bed, her heart racing. She peered around her darkened bedroom, straining to see or hear anything. All she could hear was the gentle whirl of a fan and the tinkling of the bell on her collar of her English setter, Buster. He lay on the bed beside her, with his head lifted, looking at her. "Did you hear something?" she whispered. After a few seconds, she added, more to herself, "Or did I just dream that?" She continued to listen for almost a minute, but did not hear anything out of place. With a sigh, she rubbed Buster's head and told him, "Your mommy's losing her mind." Once his human had laid back down, Buster lowered his head to his paws, careful not to hit the metal bottle cap concealed within. When quickly depressed and released, it gave off a sharp click-clack. "I'll show you," he thought. "Take me to the vet to be neutered." The second story I'll read is titled Dark Anniversary. With a dozen roses in hand, the man dressed all in black walked towards the tombstone. The lettering had already begun to fade, but the words were drilled into his brain. Edith Robin Summers, April 4th, 1956, June 14th, 1975. After a few moments of reflection, the man knelt and set the roses on her grave. "You were so maudlin, Eric," a voice said from the darkness. Without turning, Eric said, "You never forget your first, Robert." Robert stepped from the shadows. "My first was just some peasant. And after all these centuries, you still remember that." Robert stood for a few seconds, then turned and disappeared. Eric chuckled, then stood. He nodded to the tombstone and said, "Until next year, Edith." He then spread his wings and flew into the night. And the last story I'll read is titled, Would That Be a Waste? Shocking news from the online world has technology analysts scratching their heads. Erica Metcalf has more on the story. Erica? Thanks, John. We've all opened our email to find spam. Those unwanted messages promising free medicines and improvement of life and dubious money-making schemes. It's estimated by the Internet Security Commission that 95% of all emails sent are spam. They also estimate that each year spam costs people and businesses almost $200 billion in lost productivity. That is, until today. Reports from the Internet Security Commission and numerous web providers indicate that spam has disappeared. This isn't just a drastic reduction in spam, it's a total elimination. As one web provider stated, yesterday our anti-spam software program stopped around 1.5 billion suspicious emails. Today they've stopped to 0. No one has yet been able to explain how the thousands of spammers scattered across the world with millions of spam bot computers could have been stopped overnight. Will turned off his TV and smiled. He looked to his left at the being whose lower body was contained within an ancient lamp. The being nodded and asked, "What is your second wish?" So, hopefully, those 3 stories will tempt you to take a look at the All You Can Read Buffet, and there's a link below that will take you to the Amazon site for it, where you can buy in print or a Kindle version. And thank you.